Good evening. It's 6 o'clock, so we'll welcome to the December Town Hall. These are a little bit different from our school board meetings in that they are town hall, and you all get to ask questions, and we can spend as much time up until 7 o'clock. So we're really glad you're here, and please excuse our dress code tonight. We have ugly Christmas sweater night going on, but Merry Christmas to everyone. And I'd like to introduce Cindy Kinzer. She's our moderator tonight, so thank you again for being here, Cindy. And we'll just let you take it from here.
Thank you, Sarah, and welcome to our town hall tonight. I'm just going to read some updates to our rules for our town hall. The last time we did this, we did have questions that I read, but tonight we will not be doing that. The meeting will be videotaped and posted on the website after closed captioning has been completed. The moderator, that's me, will not pre-read the questions. You don't have to have those written. If a question is asked concerning personnel or something discussed in a closed session, the board will not answer. Questions will not be submitted online. Each person must be present in order to ask a question tonight. Any member of the community can email a board member at any time. And each town hall participant may ask one question. If there are no other questions from the participants, an individual may ask another question, but we're going to limit that to 2 questions per person in the town hall. And each question will no longer be more than 2 minutes, with the responses from our board limited to 3 minutes. And this will allow more time for questions to be asked. Are there any questions? Very good. Okay, we can begin with our first question.
Any questions this evening? Good evening.
Good evening. Appreciate your time and your efforts that you guys put in. And I'd like to ask each board member what their primary goal for serving on the board is. Just brief.
Yeah, I can start. Just to serve our students and our community and be a liaison between the community and the school and help the administration and help our students.
My goal was to help make the school one of the best places to work while also being the best place to get an education for our children.
My goal, and as always has been, is to be an advocate for our children and for public education, along with our teachers and all the staff, to be there to listen to them and to do what's right, but also to be a voice for the community, for the patrons that elected me, and also to be good stewards of the financial aspect of the school district.
For me, it was to serve the community, focusing on our kids, our students, our teachers, and helping to manage those things that are, that are critical. The finances to our helping ensure we've got the best staff leadership available, leading the schools on a day-to-day basis.
I think probably the answers are pretty similar. I wanted to represent parents and the regular people in the community who are working and busy and have kids in school, and I want to represent from the academic standpoint teachers and just be a voice for everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone else have a question at this time?
If there aren't any questions, I could ask, we had a great long-range planning session, our first one the other night, and Dr. Chesick was in charge of that. He may have an update for us, since there are people on Zoom, if there aren't any more questions. Does anyone else have a question? Would you like to give an update on the?
You can get up if you have a question, yes. You have another one? Okay. He's going to cash in his second question.
Okay.
How many are we limited to? That's a tough one. I got about 10 questions.
And
Okay. What does each board member believe should be a budget priority?
Say that again.
What does each board member think should be a budget priority for the school? Or-
getting a bang for our buck, if you'd like to be a part of those committees, the school, Dr. Wilson has been a part of those. It's a committee, it's called Bang for Your Buck, and it's making the most of what we have.
My priority regarding the budget is that we pay our teachers and staff as well as we can with the money that comes in, so that we can retain our good teachers, but also that we provide the best education possible in those programs that help all students be able to graduate when it comes their 12th year. So
I would add safety to that too. I think it's very important that our children are safe and our staff are safe when they're here. But basically, it's along the same lines. We want to make sure we're getting the most return on our investment.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go, is just really making sure we have the best, utilizing our resources to ensure that we have the best teachers. We need the best facilities. We need the best of everything we can do to the extent that our budget allows us to provide that to the community, to make an impact on the community, because the school district does so much in the community, makes a difference in the overall community. And coming from real estate side, as strong as our school districts are, that helps maintain property values for people living in the community as well. There's just a lot that drives people to us. So.
My focus is probably similar about making sure students get the best education possible, but my view of education may be a little bit different. I don't know. I believe we're developing the thinkers for tomorrow, the people who are going to invent new technology, the people who are going to discover new cures, the people who are going to come up with great ideas for leading people a certain way or governing. I think we need to focus on academics especially. They need to be exposed to great thinkers of the past. They need to evaluate and analyze information and ideas and know how to talk about them and put them together and evaluate them and make good decisions from them.
Can I go to part B of my question? Since I only use 15 seconds of my questioning time.
That was the rules here, so.
Sure, go ahead.
What do you see as the most pressing issues facing our students in our community? What do you see as the most pressing issues facing our students in our community? You should know this question.
Moving these around are, so the most pressing issue, I think there are a lot of issues out there that we're to pick just one. I mean, I do look at concerns from the state level, that, govern how we're going to be able to make decisions, and some of those issues outside of our district, is important. I think safety and some of those concerns that are happening all over the place, we need to make sure kids feel safe at school, and providing a place for them to learn so that they can grow and be the best version of themselves that they possibly can. But to pick just one, I don't know the singular one, but there are a lot of things that we need to be paying attention to, both locally, state level, nationally, that can impact our district.
Yeah, it's just an opinion question. I was curious what you guys thought.
Yeah.
That's one thing. That's one thing that's important is for us to hear from you guys. What do you think are the things that are important to students? One reason that I think a town hall is important is so we can hear from you guys, not just so that you things with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Downey.
Does anyone else have a question?
So, went to the last board meeting, and what I seen was acceptable to reaching out to the community was putting surveys on the website. And it's specifically the SEL one. Should have never been on there, period. If you care for our children, don't put that stuff in our school, period. Don't say you care for our children and put surveys on the school website that is indoctrinating our children, period. So do you think putting those on there is the best way to reach the community, or doing stuff like this and putting maybe leaflets out there to the mailers to the community?
In all honesty, as far as feedback, and our administration may be able to share more specifics, so I'm going to talk in broad generalities in this case. But with our superintendent survey, is that it? That we mailed directly to community engagement. We sent a survey out to every household in the school district, and a way and opportunities where you could come into the office and fill that out as well as online. The engagement online was over 95%. It was a small percentage that actually came, of what we sent out and what was sent. So from the most effective way, probably when you look at those when you look at the numbers, yes, I would say I do.
What I understand is people couldn't get to that survey. And I only seen the one survey about the SEL, and I did comment on it. It don't belong in the school.
Dr. Carson mentioned this last night. He had a great presentation for parents on curriculum. And we did talk about that as a community last night. All of the parents were invited, and so we talked about that, and he's got some ideas with that. Or would you like to add anything to what your presentation was last night? Or kind of condense that? Yes, absolutely. Yep. That's what I
So
said.
I think the only thing I say is, Mr. Petrozzini, I don't know of an SEL, social emotional learning survey that we sent out. So I'm not sure which survey you're talking about. I know we sent out a couple of surveys. We haven't done anything around SEL. Yeah, that hasn't been on any of our topics. So I'm not sure exactly which survey you're talking about. But the way we do every month, we look at Portrait of a Graduate. And the Portrait of a Graduate for this month would be kindness, and it fits in the month of December. And so we had a group of students at South Elementary. They raised a bunch of gifts. They took it to a local service organization to be given to families. And so in a way, we were teaching a social skill by helping students be kind to their neighbor. And so when we're talking about, do we teach social emotional learning, we do teach that, kindness is, and being friendly is a hallmark of being neighborly. And so that's where you would see SEL coming from. And just this past week, we had a first grade class give 50 gifts, I think, to a local charity organization to be given away. So we did teach a social skill, which would be kindness, and that's district-wide. We're looking at kindness this month. But we didn't send out a survey. So I can look And if you can find a copy, you and I can definitely talk through it, and you can give me a call and we can look through it.
What I understand about surveys is once you submit them, they go away. So where that's that. As far
We've hit time on that question. We've gone over actually 3 minutes on that one.
Okay. Well, to me, academics, and yes, that is social learning. That is what we need to teach our kids, respect and social aspects of being kind and reaching out to people that are in need. Absolutely.
Right.
But not the other stuff. So.
Thank you so much. Does anyone else have a question?
Question to the board. My apologies for not getting here. I'm sure you did Pledge of Allegiance already when you present school board. Is that correct? Did you have pledge?
We do at our monthly meetings.
Did you have Pledge Allegiance tonight?
No.
Okay. My question would be, when will you start to have a brief prayer after the Pledge of Allegiance at board meetings? I'd
We
like
each
to have-
pray. I mean, I prayed. I think Patty prayed. I mean, a lot of us do. Yeah.
Well, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But why, I would like to have that brought to your attention, to have it in public. It can be in private, that's all right. But at the school board meetings, we do it at the state level and also the government level. So what's the difference in the school board? So,
Dr. Carson, do you have some input on that as far
I
as?
was just getting ready to say.
Oh,
something
sure.
about that. I was just going to say, we do that at our state legislature in Jefferson City when they open, and we do it in Washington DC. They've done it from the beginning of the founding of this country. I think that's a fabulous idea.
well, good. Why not do it as the Ozark School Board?
I like the ideal too, because like I said, I pray on my way here, and a lot of times I'll get with Sarah or whoever, and we pray together before we come in here. But I never thought about doing it in front of everyone. I like that idea.
All three of our administrators back here have been a part of our Ozark Day of Prayer and have prayed with the community. It's held every year at the Ozark Community Center, and all three of these administrators have prayed with us at that event. So
Well,
no,
good.
no need to worry about that in this group.
And a pastor at the beginning of the school year to pray over the year with all of the teachers.
It's a devotional at the beginning of the school year.
Before the
Okay.
first day of school.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Okay, a lot of times we don't see that.
Yes, it's
But at the school board meeting, like your meeting tonight, or a regular school board meetings, it would be nice to see the prayer after that. Keeps the tradition, American traditions.
I think we can get all the prayers we can get, so.
That's right.
Yeah, we all need prayers. And they can be answered.
I also like to pray. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, do we have any other questions?
Hello. I'm Callie Groves. I am a student here. I'm a junior. And I actually work for the school district too. I work for Tiger Care. So I am very involved with the school district. I'm in band, I'm in the arts, and I'm in the IB program. And yes, I'm very involved in this. So my question today is, what do you think the best form of education is? And do you think that the academies are achieving this for the students? What do you think the best form of education is? And do you think that the academies are achieving this? The high school academies that we're all in.
I believe the best education we can offer our students is, especially in the high school, junior high, high school, as they head that way, even the elementary. Let them be educated as they learn. Not all children learn at the same speed. And I think we do that. We try to a baseline of what they need to have, but if they're ahead, then they may go ahead and step up another level. But especially in the junior high and high school, that's what the academy was about, looking at students and their talents. What are they interested in? Let's help them find their talents and help them to decide, what am I going to get out of high school? What pathway do I need to take? What classes do I need to take? What would help me after I graduate, whether I go right into the workforce or I go right into college or OTC or something like that. But I think it's all about that student. That's really analyze the student. How do they learn? And help them learn according to their speed, not ours. I'm not a teacher, but as a teacher or whatever.
First off, I just want to say I'm impressed and proud of you for being here as a student and
Thank you.
coming to the town hall and being engaged. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, but my friend Ella actually started this, and she's the reason why I'm here tonight. I'm very thankful for her.
Very good, very good. Both of you, that's awesome. So I think from an education standpoint, I kind of look at it into, are the academies achieving what we've set out to do, which is provide an opportunity for each student, and I think we're doing that. Can things get better? I'm sure there are, and I don't know the direction there, but it is providing those opportunities so that students can find their talents, their hidden talents, and grow through those opportunities. My niece was in the IB program years ago, so I know that you grow and strive a lot through that. There's a lot of growth that you put in there. So, anyways, it's so that's one of those individual kind of answers students are getting.
I was teaching back in the 90s before map testing started, when it first got started. And so I've observed when I was a new teacher, my fellow teachers, I questioned something and they said, oh, just wait. There are trends in education that come every 7 to 10 years. Christina, just wait. It'll pass, or it'll get fixed, it'll evolve. And I kind of think maybe the same thing might be true about the academies. They won't be good if they trap kids where they're stuck, but they will be great if kids get to go and visit different ones to find out a little bit about all the different subjects. Like Patty was saying, find their passion. Maybe they didn't even know they liked something, but they got to experiment with it or experience it, get to study about it. But I think our school can kind of be in charge of, our community can kind of be in charge of how those academies grow and develop and morph and change over the next 5 to 10 years, or however long they last before the new thing comes along in education. So we appreciate having your input as a student and your parents' input. So let us know what is working, what's not working. We would love to hear that, because I know the administrators too want to hear what's working, what's not working. How can we shape that and fix that so that it really does bring out the best in the students, offer them the best, and help them develop the best. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. We've hit time on that question.
I would love to have a meeting with you guys regarding the academies and all of that stuff. I would love to talk
Please
to
come
you
to
guys.
the long-range planning meeting next week.
Okay, yeah.
It's our community comes together about once every 3 years or so, and that's a big part of it. So please,
Okay, perfect.
please come to that.
And you email us and talk to it. We'll set up
Okay.
a meeting with us individually too. I'd love to meet with you and hear your thoughts.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions?
Dr. and it's more of a statement. I follow Ozark Chit Chat to see what the concerns are each week and all. And I know when the property tax assessment came out, people were very happy with their news. Not and all. But I do appreciate, Guy, what you said. It was very thoughtful in response to trying to help answer those questions. Because unfortunately, a lot of times there's misinformation and people, and like I said, you gave a very good response trying to explain, because unfortunately, a lot of times it's just easy to blame the school. Well, it's their fault. In actuality, no, because we're in a region that people want to live here, we are a fast growing county and all, that's the backside of living here. Our value of our property does go up. But I just want to thank you for that, what you said, and trying to help educate on what took place.
We'll almost forgive him for wearing that jacket tonight for that.
Do we have any other questions from the floor?
Hi, my name is Ella Stark. I am also a junior at high school, and I take IB and AP classes, and I also work at Tiger Care. So in a very similar situation as Callie. My question is, are there any ways to give more money to the arts coming from a very passionate theater kid? I see our struggles and I see the struggles of so many other art students. And I recently had a conversation with Brownfield where he explained to me the finances, but I want more details. And I want to know if there's any ways that we could possibly give more money to the arts.
So there, something just as far as further engagement to kind of know where that comes from, the bang for the buck that was mentioned earlier is something that kind of can help understand a little more of those finances. And as someone that was, at since you're part of the theater, I don't know if you were in Greece or if you're involved in Greece in there, knowing that there were some technology challenges and all that were, when they're brought to the attention, were addressed as quickly as they could to make it better I was at the first show, so that's when we were there. So, and a lot of conversations. So specifically, I think there may be opportunities. I don't know what those are to be able to answer it, right this second, but keep you engaged and look at those
Yeah,
opportunities.
I think maybe partnerships are important with the OIC, and I'll be real quick with maybe Springfield Little Theater. I see partnerships there. I know Nixa has a great opportunity there for their students, and I would love to see that here as well. I'll let Amber go because I know our time is short, so go ahead.
I was just going to share a conversation I had with Lori. I know that there was some concern about money that was being spent to the arts in the high school, and she let me know that they were looking at doing a cost analysis on what is given to each program. So that is something that is being looked into.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions from the floor?
Okay.
Okay, if not, Ms. Sarah?
Well, Dr. Carson gave a great presentation last night regarding curriculum, and there were some parents there, and there's some online resources. Dr. Carson, would you like to talk a little bit about that, since we have a few minutes left and people are on Zoom and maybe watching, so we can use that time for that?
Sure. Yes, I'd love to. So last night, the schools put it on social media, so you can find it on social media. You can also actually post it on, you mentioned Chit Chat a while ago. I posted on Chit Chat some of the links to it this morning. It's also on some of our own personal web pages. So we are now hosting, and it'll be every other month or so, maybe every 6 weeks. It's not a dedicated time, just we have a whole long list of things that as we were doing the survey that Mr. Calloway was talking about earlier, the community said the two top pieces were, we would like more communication around safety and security, and the second piece was we'd like communication around curriculum. And so in response to that, my team has developed a series called Curriculum Conversations. And those curriculum conversations are meant to be a two-way dialogue, an open dialogue. So we would present information, and then we take feedback and questions from people. So last night, our first curriculum conversation was around, how do I help my student at home? If you've ever had a student who is struggling at school, struggling to find answers, struggling to be successful, then as a parent, I know you've scratched your head, you've stayed up late at night, you have probably said a prayer or two for trying to figure out, how can I help my kid? And so last night we gave multiple resources and how you can find some resources, things you can do at home, some games you can play, how can you get more help here at school? And so we were just trying to present a whole broad spectrum of choices for parents who are just struggling to keep their kids engaged. When the question was, what are our priorities? Several of the board members mentioned our priority for instruction is each child. And that has been a board priority for multiple years. And our goal is for each child to be engaged and for them to be engaged highly so that they are pursuing their passions, pursuing their interest, and they're also learning the curriculum that every student needs to know. And when they're done and they're ready to graduate, we want them to have those 9 attributes of the portrait of a graduate. We want them to be resilient. We want them to be financially literate. We want them to be able to read and write. We want them to be able to have good numeracy. So there's lots of pieces that we want every student to be successful in that way and to be success-ready grads. To do that, there are some curriculum pieces we are teaching every single day. And if parents want to know about what they call it, some people call it new math. So what is new math? Let's have a conversation. Let's talk through how we teach math. Let's talk through how we teach literacy and how we deal with kids who are struggling to read. What do we do with dyslexic students or those who just have markers for dyslexia? What do we do for social emotional learning? How do we teach that? What are the ways we try to help our students portray good citizenship and be civically involved in our community? How do we in any way teach CRT? That's a great question. I can tell you now, we do not. But let's have a long conversation about it and let's dive in so I can show you here's exactly what we teach and why. Those are all great questions. And so this series is made to be great two-way communication. And we kicked it off last night with a nice start. And you can go to our website. And when you go to our website, you can go to departments. And under departments, you can look for learning. When you go to learning, you will see on the left-hand side something called curriculum conversations. And if you click on those, you will see notes from last night and you'll see the presentation from last night. There's only 6 short slides. There's some active links there you can click on. And then you can also, we have simple questions like, do we teach and do we do the Pledge of Allegiance? That's on there. You can click on, do we teach cursive writing? There's a short blurb on that. We'll continue to build those questions because if we believe our district is for our parents and our community and our students, then we need to do our best to have information out there for our parents and our communities and our students. And so that is the Learning Division's attempt to do that. You've always been able to access our priority standards and what we consider priority in teaching. That's always been available on our website, but we're trying to get more down-to-earth ways for you to understand what your taxes are paying for and how they're being put to good use, because they are. And so I'm excited. Thank you for offering that. It's an exciting way for us to build our district forward and to have the trust of our community. When I read on Chit Chat that somebody thinks we have litter boxes in the corner, I mean, it just blows my mind that somebody would think that. Well, I don't know where in the United States that happens. Doesn't happen here, not going to happen here. But the fact that someone would even think we did makes my brain hurt, because hopefully you know us better than that. If you don't, then let's have the conversation. Curriculum Conversations with Craig. Come on over. You can, yep, CCC, Curriculum Conversations with Craig. We'll have them and have a good time. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you, Dr.
Thanks for
Carson.
offering that.
Thank you, and thank you for having that portrait of a graduate. You had about 200 community members come together a few years ago to formulate or come up with those character traits that, I mean, that was our community.
Yes, and so after the 200 community members, we also had about another 1,800 student voices And they had multiple surveys, the students did, and conversations to come up with those top 9. So we had about 2,000 voices involved in that.
Thank you.
I was going to add something to I was going to add a note about the curriculum conversations last night. On the website, the resources are not just dry edu-speak. I mean, they're practical things. Here are some worksheets if your kid's having trouble in 6th grade math. Here, click on this link, and here are some fun games you can play. Here are some literacy kinds of, I mean, very practical, helpful stuff. Videos of what they're doing in their classroom, how to get logged into the Canvas website to find their grades and their progress and see what the lesson plans are. So it's there for inspecting. It's there for looking at it, and then talk to us.
I want to add to that too. One thing that I learned last night that I didn't know that we did, and one of the teachers was speaking about it, was that they, on this website, you can click on that link, they put whatever class that was, they say it's the math class, the slides that they had, the notes that were brought from it, they're there. So if a student didn't get it that day in class, if they tell mom and dad about it, they can go on together and get there, and maybe the parent then sees what they were trying to learn that day and kind of walk through it with them.
Or if they were sick and
Yeah,
had to
if
be
they were
absent
sick.
that day or
Right.
something. It's on there so they can get
No, some of that is very hard, and it is very, I mean, no, I'm just saying that I'm very thankful for it, because sometimes when my own child is having difficulty in math, which they have surpassed me, I have to look at those lessons myself, and then they teach me, which is a really good way for them to continue to learn.
I believe we have another question? You can come on up.
There we
Come
go.
on up.
She didn't see it.
Megan. Okay, so the community chit chat. Do you believe that the community chit chat? Yes. Do you believe that the community chit chat is good for our community? And if not, do you think there's any way we can get rid of it?
We can get rid of it, yeah. There.
Well, it's loaded question, but it is. It's not something we control or the school controls.
Yeah, I know,
It's
but-
I don't know that there's a way when you look at freedom of speech and some of those things, which I can appreciate. Knowing some of the moderators of it, they just kind of allow almost anything to go out there, and it's all. Which can be really tough to deal with, and how that's handled. And I do wish, as a community, we could be better at responding and with respect in some of those situations. But I don't know that. I mean, not having a whole lot of control of it, I don't know how you make it go away.
I
And there are parts
understand.
that are good,
I know you can't get rid of it. It's just,
So one way is not to answer the people who are so snarky, not to engage them, or just go to another group. Start another. Yeah, I mean, I'm not dissing that group at all, and I appreciate the moderators very much. And I have used to visit it a lot, but I don't visit it much anymore. I wrote myself a note because you guys keep talking about it. I'm gonna go check it out. But I mean, just turn it the tide you want it to be.
We're glad Don Kearns moderates that for us, or checks it for us. I mean, we're glad he'll give us he reads it so we don't have to. No. But
It's just-
there are some great things on there, but
yeah,
it's hard.
it's just my
to
concern
navigate.
is that some of my teachers are like worried that they'll mess up a little bit and they'll end up on the community chit chat. And like, I don't want that for any of my teachers. I don't want that for any of my peers. I don't want that for my mother who works in the middle school.
Right.
So I just,
Right.
the community chit chat in my eyes puts a bad name on Ozark, and I want to get rid of that because I know Ozark is a great school district, and I know we can be such a better school district too.
Well,
Thank you.
I think there's
Yeah.
that saying that what drives out darkness but light, so maybe we just flood it with positive messages.
Flood it with- yeah.
That's about the only thing we can do. I know it's very frustrating for me in my job and in my role here when I see things that I know are absolutely not, it's not factual information. And I find myself just completely ignoring it and not commenting because I'm not going to give it any validity at all. But I do think sometimes we should be sharing more positive messages, and maybe that can help. Because it's never going away. I mean, it's not something we can change. And
Yeah.
it's a wonderful thing and it's an awful thing. So it's just how it is.
And it's a matter, of providing, when there's an opportunity, providing the accurate information and being, and that's one thing a lot of feedback on that comment I had when talking about, the property taxes, because there's everyone, the beliefs are there, and sometimes we can see it, and if we don't get the truth in there, it does, it can spiral, because there are people that may read it and believe everything that's there, and there is a lot of misinformation out there.
And reading it makes me very grateful for my own family and my own friends and my real friends. And it's so important to surround ourselves by those people who are really important to us, who are real to us.
Yeah.
Okay, we've reached time on that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes, of course.
We all love you. Do we have any other questions?
Hi, I actually have a follow-up to her wonderful question. Some states have added media literacy to their curriculums. I am curious if you think media literacy would be something good for Ozark to add, so that our students, when they see these pages, know, hey, maybe I need to think about this. Is this true? Is this factual? Yeah.
I think they talk about that already, probably during research topics and.
Some states are starting
that
it from a
right?
very young age, though. I think they're changing, and I don't know much about this, but I do know that they are changing the way they are approaching media literacy.
We do teach digital literacy, digital citizenship and digital literacy at a younger age, and then work up with scaffolding up as they get older. But you're right, it is something that we have to address constantly, just so that you know what's true and what's not true and how to recognize it.
Yeah, I remember
We
about.
started in, Pam, we started in kindergarten with just safety.
Yes.
And so what that looks like, and then we move on. And so eventually you get into in the literacy courses, and you start talking about those things. So it is, you're 100% right. It's as important now as it's ever been. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm glad to know Ozark is doing that.
Yeah,
Good.
Yes.
good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I remember going to a parent meeting years and years ago when my oldest, who is now 23, I mean, there was a game that the kids played online, a video game, and Dr. Chesick gave a presentation to the parents about safety and technology safety, and because, there's things we as parents don't know. So, thank you.
Okay, do we have any other questions?
Ozark is growing. Do you think it's important to grow our curriculum with it? For example, Russian Ukrainian students moving here. Is there anything we are doing with our curriculum to make it less of a jarring culture shock for those students?
Yes.
So yes, so when you say grow our curriculum, what we try to do is we want to make sure that all students, if it's Russian, Ukrainian, or if it's someone from down in Mexico area and the Latin America, whoever comes to our community, we want to make sure that they are given a friendly welcome, and that we try, as they work with the ESL teachers, we want to make sure that we are giving them the right kind of support with language, the right kind of support with just them trying to fit in with our culture. The way we do that in regard to expanding what we're teaching, I mean, we teach always how you should be a good neighbor, We teach how you should be a good citizen. We teach all about our country. And so we're not changing those pieces, but for our students who are ESL students, we want to make sure that we are welcoming them with our best foot forward and giving them the resources they need and have resources available so they can meet our curriculum as easily as they can. Now, some obviously can, who are dual language, they don't have any issues. But those who, as you know, since you're, Ella, in the school district, we have more first generation speakers than we ever had. So right now, currently, we're dealing this year with ESL, we're dealing more with students who know hardly any English. And so with that comes more challenge for them, comes more challenge for us. And so we're trying to make sure teachers understand how do we teach to students who are struggling with language, so second language learners. How do we help the student? How do we help the teacher? Because if I'm an ESL, if I'm a teacher and I have several ESL students in my room, then I'm going to do some strategies that make sure I'm naming things that I'm talking about. When I talk about a concept, I need to make sure I use more visuals so they can see what I'm talking about. I need to explain around the background of something more. Then I can't assume everyone is Ozark centric in their understanding. Instead, I have to assume that I'm going to have to give more about the background. So I'm not expanding the curriculum. I am going to have to give more supports for those students so they are not lost and they're spending every day not learning to their potential. And so that's where we as a system have to really put in supports for teachers to understand how do I reach students who aren't speaking fluent English, and we're giving supports for kids. If I don't speak fluent English, how do I maintain and learn?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, we still have some time for more questions if there are any more questions. Okay, I don't see any more questions.
We have games to go to, and thank you all for coming tonight. I know there's several games going on at the junior high and some elementary programs, so we will go to those. Thank you all for coming, and see you next time.
Good night.
Recording